The last stand. The battlefield was silent, but the silence felt heavy and dangerous. Broken ships drifted slowly through space, their metal skins torn and burned. Fading lights blinked like dying stars. This was what remained of the Allied fleet. Commander Reth stood on the bridge of his damaged ship and watched the ruins. His hands were steady, but his eyes showed the truth. They were losing. They had already lost. Enemy ships surrounded the area, dark and countless. They did not rush. They waited. They knew time was on their side. Inside the bridge, alarms sounded low and weak. Most systems were offline. Weapons were nearly empty. Shields were gone. Crew members moved slowly, some injured, some silent. No one spoke about victory anymore. Everyone understood the same thing. No help was coming. Reth checked the long-range scanner one more time. The screen showed nothing but empty space. No friendly signals, no reinforcements. Weeks ago, they had sent a message to every known power in the sector. They asked for support. They asked for survival. Only one message remained unanswered. Humans. Many believed contacting humans was a waste of time. They were quiet. They stayed out of galactic wars. Their ships looked old compared to modern fleets. Some said humans were afraid. Others said they were weak. Reth did not know which was true. He only knew they never replied. The enemy fleet began to move closer, slow and confident, their weapons powered up, lighting space with a cold glow. This was the end. Reth turned to his crew. They stood tall despite fear. They had fought until nothing remained. That alone mattered. Prepare the final record, Reth said calmly. A crew officer activated the recorder. Reth looked into the lens, knowing this message might never be seen. This is Commander Reth of the Allied fleet, he said. Our forces are destroyed. We fought with honor. If anyone hears this, remember us. The recorder shut down. Silence returned to the bridge. Outside, enemy ships aligned for the final strike. Energy readings spiked across their formation. Space itself seemed to tighten. Then something strange happened. One sensor flickered back to life. A junior officer frowned and checked the data again. What is that? He whispered. Reth turned. The scanner showed a distortion. Not a ship, not a signal. It looked like a shadow moving through nothing. Enemy ships paused. Their formation hesitated. Confusion spread across their fleet. The distortion grew larger. Space bent inward, like something was pushing through from the other side. Reth felt a chill run through him. This was not enemy technology. This was something else. The bridge grew quiet. Even the alarms stopped. All eyes locked onto the screen. Then the void opened wider. Darkness folded in on itself, and something massive began to emerge. No lights, no broadcast, no warning, just a shape. Large, solid, and real. Reth's breath caught in his chest. Against all logic, against all hope. One thought filled his mind. Humans, the unknown ship, continued to surface from the void. And for the first time since the battle began, hope returned. The species everyone forgot. The unknown ship stayed silent as it drifted fully into view. No lights turned on. No symbols appeared. It simply existed. Enemy fleets pulled back slightly, unsure of what they were seeing. Their sensors struggled to read the object. It did not follow known energy patterns. It did not behave like normal ships. Commander Reth stared at the screen, his heart beating faster. The shape was unfamiliar, yet something about it felt deliberate, calm, controlled. The sight forced old memories to rise in his mind, memories of council meetings and war briefings, memories where one species was always mentioned last. Humans. Humans were never the strongest. They did not rule systems. They did not command massive alliances. They did not boast about power. In the early days, humans were seen as fragile, their bodies weak, their ships simple, their technology behind others, while other species chased speed, energy, weapons, and large fleets. Humans focused on survival. They built ships that could last, ships that could endure long darkness. Most of the galaxy lost interest in them. Humans did not threaten anyone. They did not expand aggressively. They did not demand respect, so the galaxy forgot them. Reth remembered how some leaders laughed when humans were suggested as allies. They arrive late, they said. If they arrive at all, they observe, they wait. Many believed humans were afraid of war, that they hid in deep space, that they avoided conflict. But there were quiet reports, whispers from traders and explorers, stories of human ships appearing without warning, ending battles before anyone understood what happened. Those stories were never proven, so they were ignored. Now, as the silent ship hovered between two fleets, those old stories felt very real. The enemy fleet attempted to scan again, their systems overloaded, data collapsed into noise. Reth noticed something else. The human ship had not fired, had not moved, yet the battlefield felt different. The enemy formation began to break, not from damage, but from fear. They could not understand the ship, and fear grows fast where knowledge ends. Inside the Allied ship, crew members whispered, some in disbelief, some in quiet hope. "Why now?" one officer asked softly. "Why come now?" Reth knew the answer, or at least, he believed he did. Humans did not rush into war. They studied it. They watched patterns. They waited for the moment that mattered most. To humans, timing was a weapon. The silent ship slowly turned, its dark surface absorbing distant starlight. No markings showed, no pride, only purpose. Enemy commanders opened communication channels, demanding identification, threatening destruction. There was no reply. The human ship continued to drift, positioning itself between the enemy and the damaged Allied fleet. Like a shield made of shadow, Reth felt something he had not felt in a long time. Relief. For the first time, the enemy hesitated, instead of advancing. For the first time, the Allied fleet was not alone. The human ship's presence sent a clear message, even without words. Someone was watching. Someone had arrived, and the war was no longer ending the way the enemy expected. The human ship finished its slow turn and faced the enemy fleet. It still made no sound, no signal, no warning. Enemy commanders shouted orders across open channels. Weapons charged, target locks searched for a weak point. But nothing made sense. The human warship was too quiet, too calm. It did not react like a normal threat. Then space itself changed. Around the human ship, the darkness began to bend. Light twisted. Sensors spiked and dropped at the same time. Enemy systems struggled to keep up. Commander Reth leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the screen. This was not simple movement. This was control. The first enemy ship lost power without being touched. Its lights went dark, weapons shut down. It drifted, helpless. Then another ship failed. Then another. No explosions, no bright flashes, just silence and sudden weakness. Panic spread through the enemy fleet. Formations broke apart. Orders overlapped and failed. Fear replaced confidence. How are they doing this? An enemy voice shouted over an open channel. The answer never came. Inside the Allied ship, crew members stared in disbelief. They watched enemy ships fall apart without a single shot fired. Hope grew with every second. Reth realized something important. The humans were not fighting the fleet. They were fighting the systems. One by one, enemy weapons went offline. Shield grids collapsed. Communication links died. The human ship moved at last, slow, precise, like it had already calculated every outcome. It passed through enemy lines untouched, dark and massive, a shadow cutting through light. Enemy ships tried to fire. Their weapons failed. Energy leaked harmlessly into space. Then a calm voice filled every channel. Clear, steady, human. "This battle is over," the voice said. "You may retreat." No threat, no anger, just certainty. The enemy flagship reacted with rage. Its captain refused to accept defeat. Massive weapon systems began to charge, pulling power from every remaining ship. Reth felt the danger instantly. That weapon could tear space itself. It could destroy everything nearby. Enemy and ally alike. The human ship stopped moving. It turned slowly toward the flagship, as if acknowledging the challenge. For the first time, lights appeared along its surface. Soft, controlled, not bright, not proud. Energy built around the human warship, different from anything Reth had seen before. Stable, focused. The enemy fired. A wave of destruction rushed forward. Space screamed under the pressure. Crew members across all ships braced for impact. The human ship did not dodge. It did not retreat. It absorbed the attack. Energy vanished into its hull, distributed, controlled, neutralized. The enemy fleet fell silent. Shock froze them in place. The human voice returned, unchanged. "You were warned," it said, in a single moment. The enemy flagship shut down completely. Its massive weapon died mid-charge. The ship drifted, powerless, across the battlefield. Enemy vessels began to retreat, jump drives activating in panic, fleeing into deep space. Commander Reth released a breath he did not know he was holding. The battle was over, but the meaning of what he had seen was just beginning. The human ship turned back toward the Allied fleet. silent once more, a guardian made of darkness. And Reth understood the truth at last. Humans did not arrive late. They arrived when the war needed to end. The battlefield felt different after the enemy retreat. Not peaceful, just quiet in a new way. Wreckage still drifted through space. Damaged ships still burned slowly, but the fear was gone. Commander Reth watched the human warship move closer, slow and careful, as if it respected the wounded around it. The ship stopped near the Allied flagship, still silent, still unreadable. Then the human voice returned, calm as before. "This area is secure," it said. "Begin recovery operations." Simple words. No celebration, no demand for thanks. Reth noticed something important. The humans were not chasing the enemy. They were not seeking revenge. They were focused on survivors. Small human support craft emerged from the warship, dark and compact. They moved toward damaged Allied vessels, locking onto hulls, stabilizing power cores. Crew members across the fleet watched in disbelief. No one had ordered the humans to help. They just did. Medical signals began to appear on Allied screens. Injured crews receiving aid, life support restored, fires contained. Reth felt a weight lift from his chest. This was not just a rescue. This was intention. A senior officer spoke quietly. "They came to protect us." Reth nodded. "Yes," he said. "This is how humans fight." Humans did not fight for territory. They did not fight for pride. They fought to stop loss. The human warship stayed between the Allied fleet and open space. Like a wall, like a promise. Enemy signals faded into nothing. No counterattack came. No traps followed. The humans had calculated everything. They knew when to strike and when to stand still. Reth finally opened a direct channel to the human ship. "This is Commander Reth," he said. "You saved us." There was a short pause. Then the reply came. "We received your message." Nothing more. No explanation. Reth understood then. The humans had always planned to come. They just waited for the moment when their presence would matter most. Around the battlefield, Allied crews worked with renewed strength. Hope made hands steadier, voices clearer. The humans did not command them. They did not take control. They allowed the Allies to stand on their own again. The human ship began slow repairs on itself. Scars visible across its hull, damage from absorbing the enemy weapon. It had taken the hit without hesitation, protecting everyone behind it. Reth watched the ship and felt something close to awe. Not fear, not worship, respect. One of his officers spoke softly. "They could have destroyed the enemy completely," Reth answered. "Yes, but that was never the goal. The goal was survival. The goal was balance." The human ship finished its repairs and powered down its weapons. A sign of trust. Then the voice returned one last time. "We will remain until you are safe." Simple, clear. As the Allied fleet slowly recovered, Commander Reth looked out into the stars. He knew the galaxy would remember this day, not because of destruction, but because of restraint. Humans had shown their strength, not by how much they destroyed, but by what they chose to protect. And the war, though not over everywhere, had changed forever. The human warship stayed in position for many hours. It did not move away. It did not hurry. Around it, the Allied fleet slowly came back to life. Engines restarted, hull breaches sealed, wounded crews stabilized. Commander Reth stood on the bridge and watched the recovery. This should have felt like victory, but it felt different. There was no cheering, no songs of triumph, only quiet work. The human ship remained silent, like a guardian that did not need praise. When the last emergency signal ended, the human voice returned. "All Allied vessels are now stable," it said. "Our mission here is complete." Reth felt a sudden pressure in his chest. "You are leaving?" he asked. "Yes," the voice replied. "There are other signals." Reth understood. Humans were not tied to one battlefield. They listened to the void. They followed need. Before the human ship could depart, Reth sent one final message. "Why did you wait?" he asked. "Why not come sooner?" There was a longer pause this time, as if the human commander considered the words carefully. "We did not wait," the voice said. "We were preparing." Reth closed his eyes briefly. The meaning was clear now. Humans did not rush into war without understanding it. They studied patterns. They watched how enemies fought. They learned where fear lived. By arriving last, they arrived with certainty. The human ship began to move, slowly turning toward the dark edge of space. Its engines did not flare. Its presence did not demand attention. As it pulled away, The Allied fleet remained untouched, safe, alive. Reth watched until the massive shape faded into the void, until space looked empty again. But it was not empty. The memory remained. The knowledge remained. Across the galaxy, reports would spread about a battle that should have ended in extinction, about a species long ignored, about a warship that came from nothing. Enemies would remember the silence, the moment their power failed, the fear of something they could not control. Allies would remember something else, the calm voice, the steady defense, the choice to protect instead of destroy. Commander Reth recorded his final report, not for history, but as a warning. When humans are quiet, he said, they are watching. When they arrive, the war is already decided. He ended the message and looked out at the stars. Somewhere in the darkness, human ships moved without sound, listening, waiting, not for glory, not for conquest, but for the moment when no help seems to be coming, because that is when humanity always arrives. Time passed after the human warship vanished into the void. The battlefield was cleared, wreckage gathered, survivors counted. The Allied fleet returned to its worlds, carrying stories that words could barely hold. Every report sounded unreal, yet every detail was true. Commander Reth stood before the Galactic Council weeks later. The chamber was full. Leaders from many species listened in silence. They expected numbers, casualty lists, strategic failures. Instead, Reth spoke of humans. He spoke of silence before power, of patience stronger than fear, of a ship that did not chase victory, only survival. Some council members doubted him. They asked where the human fleets were, why no territory was claimed, why no demands were made. Reth answered simply, because that is not why they came. Reports began arriving from other sectors, similar patterns, battles turning at the last moment, unknown ships appearing from nowhere, always human, always quiet. Enemy factions changed behavior. They attacked less, they spread out, they hesitated. Fear had entered their planning. Not fear of destruction, but fear of interruption. They never knew when humans were watching. Trade routes reopened, border worlds rebuilt. Small civilizations survived wars they should not have. Human ships were rarely seen, but their influence was everywhere. Commander Reth often thought about the moment of first contact, the shadow in the void, the silence before hope. He realized something important. Humans did not want to be remembered as conquerors. They wanted to be remembered as a line enemies would not cross. Years later, a young officer asked Reth during a training session, "Will humans come again if we are attacked?" Reth looked at the stars before answering. "They never leave," he said. "They only hide their footsteps, far beyond known space." Human ships moved slowly, scanning signals, listening to distress calls, mapping fear and need. No banners flew from their hulls. No songs followed their engines. Only purpose. They knew the truth of war. That showing power to early invites challenge. That silence forces caution. And so humanity remained in the background of the galaxy. Not leaders, not rulers, guardians. When conflict rose too high, when extinction seemed certain, when hope faded from every screen, that was when the void would bend.